Hey guys, welcome in. This is the Major League Podcast. I'm your host. I am Jacob Major at JakeMajor25 for my Twitter account, or at the Major League 3, or no, sorry, it's at Major League 3 for this podcast Twitter account as well. You can also find us here on YouTube. Give me a like and subscribe if you don't mind. Yes, it's another sports podcast. I'm sorry, you're all gonna have to just deal with it. So I was presented with this idea this morning of a beautiful what if situation. So, a buddy of mine on Twitter, shout out Travis at _ Trav, all caps, 23, the number's 23. So his tweet was, for you OU fans that got to watch the greatest that never was, Marcus Dupree, when he played at OU, was he as amazing to watch as it was for all of us to watch all day run with the football? A lot of people are saying yes. I mean, think about it. Dude was 6'3" and ran a 4.340. Think about that for a sec. 4.340, 6'3". Stupid. So let's think about this for a sec. So 1982, Marcus Dupree comes in as a freshman, runs for 146 times for 1,144 yards and 13 touchdowns. Huge, right? That's a lot for a freshman to be doing. I mean, heck, think about it. Adrian Peterson almost ran for 2,000 yards and had more games to play. So let's think about this for a sec. So we have a running back who averages 7.8 yards per carry, gets hurt in the second year. Okay, we can forgive getting a concussion, because I mean the hit was brutal. If you don't know the hit, go watch the ESPN 30 for 30, the greatest that never was. I mean, just think about the ramifications of what Marcus Dupree meant for Oklahoma in 1984. If he comes and he stays in shape in 1984. So in 1984, Marcus Dupree would have been a junior. If you look at that Oklahoma team in 1984, they tied to number 1 Texas, lost to unranked Kansas, beat number 1 Nebraska, number 3 Oklahoma State, second game of the season, number 17 Pitt, and they lost to number 4 Washington in the bowl game. So now let's take a look at what actually happened. So Danny Bradley was, I'm going to assume, the starting quarterback based just from the sheer number of attempts that he got, 151 pass attempts and 158 rushing attempts. So he was probably the starting quarterback in the Wishbone in 1984. I don't know, can't vouch for that. For you guys that are older than I am, I'm just 30. I wasn't around for the 1984. I was around for the dark years in the 90s, and I had no idea what was going on because I was literally born in 1991. So Danny Bradley, Lydell Carr, Spencer Tillman, and Steve Sewell are all the players for Oklahoma in 1984 that ran over 100 yards or 100 attempts. Not one of them had 700 yards or more rushing the ball. Danny Bradley was the only one with almost 10 touchdowns running the football. This is all running. So now let's take a look at, okay, so we have Lydell Carr, we have Spencer Tillman, we have Steve Sewell. Okay, so how would Marcus Dupree fit in here? So Marcus Dupree is your number 1 running back. Marcus Dupree, healthy, runs for 8 yards carry. You can't change my mind on that, especially when Oklahoma that year ran the ball 60 times a game. So he's probably going to get somewhere between 25 to 30 carries a game. And if you think about the wishbone, that's a lot of carries. So the dude's probably going to continue this, let's just say a 6-yard average. Let's say 6 yards is the healthy mindset to do here. So 60 carries, or 6 yards a carry is still ridiculous when you're running the ball 25 to 30 times a game. So he's probably still going to rush for over 100 every single game. So he's probably going to run for over 1,000 yards again. So now we have Danny Bradley, we have Lydell Carr, and we have Marcus Dupree. You have Derek Shepard and Keith Jackson, and you have Steve Sewell catching the football as well too. So now you have legitimate passing threats. You have a threat out of the backfield with Marcus Dupree, which you can just check down to and say, okay, go make a play happen in 1984. And so let's take a look at the schedule in 1984. Oklahoma was 9-2-1. The two losses I already said. Kansas and number 4 Washington, tie number 1 Texas. So now let's take we've kind of looked at the mindset of what the offense would look like completely different, right? So you probably flex out Steve Sewell, you keep Derek Shepard over on the other side, you have Keith Jackson on the inside as your tight end, you're running your wishbone, you still got Marcus Dupree behind you, you can still do the quarterback option if you need to. This offense would have been running really good. So we played Stanford, beat them 19-7. Think about what having a real quarterback or a real running back would do at this point. A true number 1 running back, 3rd year in the system, healthy and in shape. There's a reason I keep saying this. If you don't know, go watch 30 for 30. Like I said, the greatest never was. Probably a good way to spend your Saturday anyway. It's fantastic. So they go to Pitt and beat number 17 Pitt, who lost to BYU. Remember BYU. And remember I said they lost to BYU as the number 3 team. So they beat Baylor, they beat Kansas State. So in those games, they win 19-7, 42-10, 34-15, 24-6. Going into the Texas game, Oklahoma is ranked number 3. So if we kind of look at this as we bring in Marcus Dupree, we probably beat Stanford by more than 19-7. We probably end up putting a 50 burger. We score half 100 on them, on Pitt, easily in my mind. No question in my mind. Baylor, same thing. Kansas State, same thing. We probably put up 50 on all 4 of those football teams going into Texas. Texas is a good football team in 1984. They're ranked number 1 for a reason. So now if we look at it, they should have lost that game in the first place. But let's take a look at it if we have Marcus Dupree. Texas only beat Oklahoma in 1983 because Marcus Dupree suffered one of the nastiest concussion of all time. Period. The dude